This podcast, Spotlight for Success, is our way of highlighting the incredible success stories happening in education right here in our home state of Georgia. Today, we're thrilled to be joined by Joel Miller, who has made a significant impact in the field of social studies. We'll explore his journey, insights, and the positive changes he's creating for students and teachers. So let's get started. Joel, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Devin, for this opportunity. I was a Georgia educator for 14 years in Forsyth County, Georgia, just north of Atlanta. Started out as a sixth grade teacher after the Great Recession. That was the first teacher job that was offered to me, and graduated quickly to where I was intended to be, I believe, in the high school level, teaching history, all the histories, world, U.S., ESL, and economics, where I really found my jam.
That's wonderful. Can you tell us some of the success stories or maybe a special milestone that you encountered during your teaching career?
Wow. Yeah. So success stories, I think the best ones are those that kind of resurface, right? So emails from former students and communications, running into them. Actually, we were out last night here in Athens just grabbing dinner, and I was like, okay, a couple of those guys look really familiar. And as we were eating, moments later, a group of guys came up, and 3 of them had been former students of mine. And I was just like, wow, it's really cool. What are you guys up to? What are you studying? And things that they remember from your class, those are success stories. Seeing them out in the world, really, that's the success. It's like, get out there now and do something with yourself. But yeah, lots of students. As an ESOL teacher in Georgia, I had kids that had been in the country weeks. Learning what it's like to navigate the culture, the language. So really just having a chance to work alongside students for the year that I taught them or the semester I taught them was the real privilege of being a teacher, right? Being an educator is seeing the growth and getting to walk alongside students in their journey.
That is wonderful. Tell me again, what was the name of the school system you were with?
Forsyth County Schools.
Forsyth County Schools.
That's right, up near Lake Lanier. Water source for Atlanta. So,
wonderful.
Come up and visit us.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great area. I love Lake Lanier. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience when you segued? Now you're with Georgia Council of Economic Education. Is that right?
So actually, the Georgia Council was instrumental in developing me as an economics instructor.
Okay.
And so I work now with the Foundation for Economic Education, which is in a similar space, economics education and curriculum development. So I'm the curriculum development manager for FEE, as we're lovingly called, Foundation for Economic Ed, based in Atlanta. But we have a teacher network now that's growing really rapidly, all 50 states, I think 20-something countries, using our weekly resources. So that's been a really cool thing. And honestly, I was watching the guys at the Georgia Council do their thing that ultimately led me to learn that I myself have a gift, an ability to write lessons and then demonstrate those for teachers, and it's a very rewarding role that I'm in now.
Wonderful. Are you working with? Is there a special partner or a special experience you've had doing this kind of work, and how was that segue from being in social studies to deciding on really focusing on economics as your field of special study?
It's great being here at the Georgia Council.
Hey, it's Tony DeSario, Director of Sales and your Georgia Senior Account Executive for the American Book Company. I am here where all the magic happens, ABC Central in Woodstock, Georgia. This is the place, our production center, where we produce the amazing books that keep us #1 in supplemental resources across Georgia. Why are we #1? Because our books are simple to use, and as always, they're 100% aligned to Georgia's standards, which is most important. Here at ABC, it's our job to support our teachers, our students, and especially our families across the state of Georgia, and we do it with pleasure and pride. Thank you so much. Have an amazing time.
The Social Studies Conference is a lot of fun because I'm reminded of where I began, right? Like just the journey of being kind of a history nerd, getting invited into a classroom and being responsible for the instruction for these kids, who are just all over the place, and the journey of getting into econ, I think started with some workshops that I had gone to. I wanted to go, I think the first Georgia Council workshop I ever went to was on trade, and it was paired with a book. We got to read a book called The Travels of a T-shirt in a Global Economy. And I remember as part of that workshop, we actually had to agree to write a lesson. And so we read the book, we talked about trade, we got a bunch of free resources, and then we had to write a lesson. And I was like, wow, economics, unlike history, it's every day, it's everything. It's really about making choices. And so the things that I was into individually, such as being outside, hiking, sports, global news, I could integrate that really easily without the constraints of the standards that you have to teach, explicitly in a history course, which have their place.
Right.
But for me personally, as a creator and someone who likes to be entrepreneurial, innovative, I'm an idea person. Ideating is a hobby. I really found my niche in econ.
That's awesome. So how do you integrate all of those kind of outdoor activities with your work with the Foundations for Economic Education?
Well, so one connection, just this Monday, I wrote an assignment on really the tragedy of the commons, but if you're familiar, this is peak leaf season in New England, and particularly in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, where I do have a family connection. There are lots of economic lessons being learned by locals who are being overrun by tourists, right? Looking
I've
at
heard
the
about
leaves.
that.
Yeah, and so it's become a problem. Like certain neighborhoods have even hired police and sheriff's officers to close roads, but people are producing externalities, negative externalities on the environment, on the communities, and so on. And so the lesson was really about, hey, how could we rein in these externalities? And so I challenge students in the lesson to think about how private property ownership actually gives a lot of empowering choice and decision-making to individuals. One thing I learned while I was researching the lesson was that 80% of New Hampshire's trails, ATV trails, are privately owned. But through agreement, voluntary agreement, these property owners are able to allow tourists from all over the world to come and enjoy the public spaces, or the private spaces, right? But in a public way, the beautiful spaces. And so it's just it's a cool lesson. And so that was a lot of fun writing because I'm visualizing myself, hiking through the mountains and being there. But that's just one example. One thing that we try to do with our platform, teachers.fee.org, which is a free resource online for educators, is to write timely assignments, lessons, resources linked to news stories, because that is the most challenging thing is really relevancy, right? Like you can hit rigor, you can hit the relationship piece, but making things current and relevant, like teachers usually don't have time to do that, right? I mean, rarely did I ever have time to wow the students with like, oh my gosh, I just heard about this on the radio yesterday. And so we try to do that every week, provide classroom-ready resources for teachers to use. And we have a lot of really exciting products at teachers.fee.org. So I would encourage teachers who are listening to check that out. So that's my pitch.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got to get those plugs in. Joel, let me ask you, what are you hoping to get out of the conference here?
Well, honestly, Devin, this is difficult. As an exhibitor, I have a product that I know benefits lots of teachers, right?
Yes.
And so I would love to be in sessions right now.
Oh, okay.
Learning some of the innovative approaches. I'll get a chance to do that. I'm leading a few sessions as well on our personal finance inquiry lessons this morning.
Wonderful.
And then later today on the significance of the national debt on your personal finances. And have a guest speaker coming on from DC, actually, for like 10 minutes. So it's going to be really exciting.
Wow.
And then tomorrow we're talking about AI and how it's a tool to leverage the process of creative destruction, and ultimately how individuals can be empowered through the use of this new technology that's on the horizon. So 7 things that are changing in the world and 3 things that are not going to change. So I think it'll be a fun talk.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. It sounds like a great program, and I'm sure you're going to learn a lot by integrating interacting with the
Sure.
educators in those presentations.
That's the favorite part of my job now. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Being in the room with teachers.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Joel, thank you so much for your time. Foundations of Economic Education, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
All right. Well, thanks for putting on this podcast. Devin's a great idea.
Yes.
A great way to highlight all the wonderful exhibitors and educators here who are trying to help teachers do their job. So,
All right. Thank you, Joel.
all right.
Bye-bye.